Okay, we are starting angle and triangle units. You will notice on my agenda board it says SH1. If you notice at the top of this page it says Student Handout 1. So what do you think SH is standing for? Student Handout. And then if you flip the page, it says Homework 1, and I bet the Homework 1 on my agenda stands for Homework 1. Okay. This chapter has a lot of vocabulary words that we're going to look at. We're going to refresh our memory on some words first, and then we're going to talk about complementary and supplementary angles. That's all we're going to get into today. So first, angles can be named many ways based on their characteristics. Following along with me on your paper. Angles can be named many ways based on their characteristics. If I ask somebody to give me characteristics of Ty, they could say brown curly hair, has brown eyes, wearing a necklace, a black shirt. It's doing what to the tie? Describing. That's his characteristics. So characteristics are describing angles and triangles. We're going to get familiar with a protractor in this unit. We have a new symbol here that we may have not seen before. This symbol right here looks like that. That stands for angle. Instead of writing the word angle, they created that symbol. Okay, so math people are lazy, we created the symbol for it. So they're asking, what is the measure of angle CFE? Well, looking over here at my protractor, I notice here on the left side, there's two sets of numbers, top and bottom. The top starts at 0, the bottom starts at 180. Over here on the right, the bottom starts at 0 and the top starts at 180. Okay, so if I'm looking for measure of CFE, okay, an important characteristic, the middle letter is always the meeting point. So if my hands are angles, where they're touching is the meeting point, which in this case is what letter? F. That's where they're meeting. Okay, in this next one, what's the middle letter? F. That F just so happens to be where everybody is meeting up together, right? So F is always going to be in the middle for this example. So they said, what is the measure of CFE? I traced it in red. Well, this bottom line here goes off to the right. Do I want to use the bottom set of numbers or the top set of numbers? Do you start with 0 or 180 normally?
0.
You always start at 0. So I'm going to use the bottom set of numbers to see how large this angle is. This goes from 0 to what? 80. So what is the measure of CFE? 80 degrees. Okay, the next question, what's the measure of AFC? A, F, and C is here. So now this line is over to the left. Am I going to use the top set of numbers or bottom?
Top.
Top starts with 0, and that goes to what measure? 100. So AFC is 100 degrees. All right, let's review a little bit. of some vocabulary words. An acute angle. The definition starts out reading an angle that measures blank 90 degrees. What would that be? Below, or what else could we say? Less than 90 degrees. An acute angle is less than 90 degrees. Alright, so looking at our protractor here, let's find some acute angle examples. There are a lot of acute angles I see. So when you're raising your hand, what letter should be listed in the middle? F. So raise your hand. There's several acute angles that we could list here. Chloe, what do we have for one of them? Angle CFD. Do you agree that this angle is an acute angle?
Yes.
I agree. What else? Joseph?
DFE.
DFE. Let's take a look. DFE. Is that an acute angle?
Yes.
It is. I agree. AJ, what do you have?
BFA.
BFA. That didn't change colors. Is that acute?
Yeah.
What does 90 degrees make anyhow?
Right.
A right angle. So it's got to be smaller than a right angle. Any more that you see? Aaron, what you got?
BFC.
BFC. Is this an acute angle?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So I'm going to list all of those properly. DFE, CFD, BFC, BFA, ABF. They are all less than 90 degrees. Then we have obtuse angles, an angle that measures blank 90 degrees and blank. Obtuse angle. Okay?
Greater than.
So it's greater than 90 and something. Actually says it's between 90 and 180. 180 forms a what? A straight line. Okay, so an obtuse angle is between a right angle and a straight line. Okay, we have a few examples of an obtuse angle that we could list. Who sees some? What do you see, Gracie? CFA. Is this one an obtuse angle?
Yes.
It's close to being a right angle, but it's still greater than that, so I agree that is one. Romalis, what do you see?
AFD.
AFD, is that obtuse?
Yes.
It is. Madison, what do you see? AF, what did you say? AF what? AFE, is that obtuse?
No.
Is it between 90 and 180?
No, it is.
It is 180, so is it between it?
No.
No, so I like that you pointed that one out, but it can't be obtuse because it's something else. Yes. BFE, is that an obtuse angle?
Yes.
Yes. And do we see any more? I think that might be it. Okay, so we can list those. Then a right angle is an angle that measures blank 90. Exactly 90. Okay, we're looking for an example of a right angle. Kane, you see one?
BFD.
BFD. And how did you know BFD was right?
Cause it's an L.
But it kind of doesn't look extremely perfect. What's telling me it's perfect? Yes.
150 minus 60 is 90.
He says 150 minus 60. Where did he get 150? Because this line right here says 150. This says 60. 150 minus 60 is how much? So I know 100% that this is forming a right angle. Are there any more? I don't think so. I think that's the only one. So BFD is my example. And we proved it from our math. Now a straight angle. What else could we call a straight angle? A line. Okay? An angle that measures blank 180. Exactly 180. This example might be hard. What you got? AFE. Jeez, is that it? I think that might be it. AFE forms a straight 100-degree line. Now our two new definitions that we probably haven't heard of before is complementary and supplementary angles. And both of the definitions start off saying a pair of angles. What is a pair? Two. So it's two angles, and both of them have the word sum. What does sum mean? Add. Okay? So it's going to have two angles that add, or the sum of, well, complementary is the sum of 90 degrees. So what do you think supplementary would have to be? Is the sum of 180 degrees. So they're very similar, but they have a crucial difference in the amount. I always have tricks up. I was terrible as a kid with definitions, along with many other things. But, so the way that I remembered this as a kid is I always remembered 90 and 180. Those are common angle measurements, right? 90 comes before 180. Well, in the alphabet, C comes before S, so I'd remember C90, S180. So I would just know if it was C, it had to be the smaller number. If it was S, it had to be the larger number. Someone else earlier today said that the S kind of looks like it's about to form an 8 for 180, and the C, you could form a 9 for the 90. You remember that?
Yeah, that makes it harder.
There's all kinds of tricks that you can help remember definitions, because that was the only way I was able to remember definitions. Or you could just remember it. So let's look for some examples. So let's look for complementary first. So the definition says two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Okay? I have some hands up that think they see it. Ramelis, what do you see?
BFD.
That's one angle.
Wait, no.
Okay.
Wait. Never mind. You can.
Okay, AJ?
AFB and BFD.
AFB and what?
BFD. Wait, sorry. Sorry, I missed it. No, I have it. DFE, sorry.
Okay, he says that these two are complementary, meaning they add up to 90. Well, what degree is this line? 60. This line, from 0 to the line, is 30. Does 60 plus 30 add up to 90?
Yes.
So are these two angles complementary?
Yes.
I have some people not focusing. Okay, so I need to list those angles, so I should write angle AFB with angle DFE. Okay, there could be another example. Joseph is freaking out. What do you see, Joseph?
I see BFC.
Oh, I thought I changed colors. BFC, okay.
And BFD. Wait, no, that's wrong one. CFD.
CFD. Well, let's check that. So he says this angle here, that is going from 60 to 100. What is that? 40. And this is going from 100 to 50, which would be 50 is 40 plus 50, 90. So are those two complementary? Yes. So I can list BFC and angle CFD. They only listed one, and I wanted to list more. Okay, that was complementary. So the same thing, but now supplementary means it has to add up to what? 180. Okay, so, Oscar has got this. What do you have, Oscar? CFE and AFC. Do those two form? Supplementary is easy to form. See as well. Does it make a straight line? Does this one and this one make 180 degrees?
No. Wait, yes they do. My bad.
Yes, it does. So I have AFC and angle CFE. Okay. CC, what do you see? CFD and what?
CDE. Wait.
I don't see it with that. CFD is in the middle of there. I would have to have two other angles. Claire? DFA and DFE. Does these two form 180?
Yes.
Does it form a semicircle?
Yes.
Yes. So we have angle DFE and AFD. I think there are some more. What you got? AFB and BFE. Does that form a semicircle? Yes, so that has to be two angles that add up to 180. So that was angle AFB, angle BFE. Are there any more? I don't think so. I don't think so. So those are our supplementary angles. Okay, not too bad. Flip to the back side. It says writing equations. By writing and solving equations, we can determine the missing angle in angle blank in various angle relationships. The measure and the angle measure. And some of these is going to be common sense to some of us that we can do in our head. But is every math problem we've ever seen been common sense? No, we've actually had to solve some things. So I know that some of these are gonna look simple to you, but there's a process we're building up to. We start with the easy and get to the hard. So number 1 has a blank line, and what word is by that blank line? Equation. Do they want an answer? No, they want an equation. So what should I include for an equation? An equal sign. I know it has to have an equal sign. Well, I learned 2 new definitions, or several definitions. One of those definitions is mimicking this example. What definition is mimicking that, Oscar?
Supplementary.
And how do you know that it's representing supplementary?
That's a long line.
Because it's a straight line. He sees it's a straight line, and it's 2 angles that add up to how much? That straight line, right? So it's straight. So that is supplementary. 2 angles that add up to 180. I just said that in words. I want to write that as an equation. So how much is it going to equal? 180. What's? Oh, it's sum means add, so I know it has to be addition. That's in my vocabulary word, is sum. What's adding?
136 degrees plus X.
That is all they're asking for. Could I have said x plus 136 equals 180?
Yes.
Yes, it would have been fine. But I should be able to look at these diagrams and start seeing vocabulary words. So looking at number 2, what vocabulary word, Ramalis, should you see?
Complementary.
Complementary. And complementary means that it adds up to
90.
So I know my equation should equal 90. What is adding up to 90?
74 plus X.
Or x plus 74, either way. Did they want me to find x? No, I'm paying attention to what the question is asking. They just wanted an equation. Okay. Number 3, we have something new here. I taught you what this symbol means, and that meant what?
Angle.
Angle. When I put an M in front of it, that's just getting double lazy there. The measure of angle. Okay? We don't like writing all that stuff out. So it says the measure of angle 1 is 42.8 degrees. So I know this is 42.8 degrees. A wants me to write an equation. What should my equation equal? 90. What's equaling 90?
42.8
Plus angle 2.
Can I say angle 2? No, I can't have numbers in there, so let's call it a letter, X. So now I can have my equation. And here's what I mean about some of this is common sense, and you already know how to find the answer. But you're 7th graders, and there's a certain way to find the answer because it's going to get a little bit harder. I need to refresh my memory on how I solve equations. So, is my parent married?
No.
Does it have a number attached to it?
No.
No. Does my letter have a kid? Yes. How do I go about solving this?
You bring the kids over to the council.
How?
You
I'm gonna
subtract.
subtract.
The opposite.
Opposite operation, subtract 42.8. Some of you were already realizing that's what you would have to do in your head. But I need it written as an equation because these problems aren't going to stay just this simple. We're going to have a little bit harder. So that's going to be x equals whoever has, what is it? Hold on. What is it? X equals?
X
47.2.
Is that right? Alright, what's your question?
Why can't we just subtract that 90?
In your head.
They don't want.
But you can do the work.
They don't want you to do it easy.
Yeah, you can write it out.
90 minus
Because,
You can do 90 minus
okay, this is why, because here in a second, not in a second, in a couple days, this is gonna be 2x minus 1.
Oh my.
Do you know what x is? No, so I'm refreshing your memory on this easy stuff because this is about to get different. Okay, so yes, I know you probably do this different in your head, but I want you to refresh on the simple things. And if I agree, most things are timed, and if you were taking a test and I wasn't looking at your work, would I care that you went ahead and did this a simple way? No. But when the problem gets harder for my teaching purposes, I'm starting out easy because I know what it's about to look like.
Are you saying like if you ever took a test on this, we could just do it equal?
Yes, but you better remember how to do it the other way as well, because that's what's going to help you there. So we found that the measure of angle 2 is 47.2 degrees. Okay, what vocabulary word do you see when you look at number 4? Supplementary. It says the measure of angle 2 is 65.6 degrees. What could I call angle 1?
X.
Okay. Math people like X. Some people like using different letters. I'm an X kind of gal. So what would my equation look like?
65.6 degrees plus 6 equals 180.
Plus 6.
I mean, not plus X, my bad.
Okay. X plus 65.6 equals 180. I need to refresh on how to solve this. Okay, I noticed that X is not married. It has kids. I need to move the kids over. How do I move them over? Subtract 65.6 to both sides. X equals
114.4.
So the measure of angle 1 is 114.4 degrees. Why do you not have how to do this? There's not enough room. I appreciate students that are bettering themselves. You apparently did not read my notes. If I'm taking time to try and better you, you better be trying to better you. Okay, the next two, they did not give us images to help us out this time. I always suggest to draw an image because that's how I can translate it and see it better. So it says 2 angles are complementary. Well, what does complementary mean? 90 degrees. So I know I can go ahead and draw me a 90-degree angle. And I know it has to have 2 angles. Well, if I'm just sketching a diagram, I have to be specific with it and have it totally accurate. I'm just sketching a generic diagram. So I'm 2 angles. Is that 2 angles? It works. They said one of them is 15 degrees. So I'm going to write a 15 there. And I've got to find the other one. Now that's my sketch. What does this little square stand for? Right angle. It's telling me it's 90. Does it match exactly their description? No. Theirs is probably a little more accurate, but I don't really care because I'm just using it to help me solve the problem. So what equation can I write to help me solve this?
15 plus X equals 90.
Okay. Then to solve this, all I would have to do
Subtract 15 from both
Subtract.
sides.
Beautiful.
And then you get X equals
75. And then I get
X equals
75 degrees is what that other guy equals.
Yep.
And I just used my sketch to help me see the diagram. Abby, you've been piddling a whole lot. Fidgeting. Okay, 6 is the last one. It says angle ABE and DBE are supplementary angles. What is supplementary?
Not 180 degrees.
180 degrees, so it makes a straight line, right? And I know it's 2 angles, so I'm gonna just draw a random line. And something tells me what this letter is. What is this letter?
F, B,
L.
B.
B.
That is
Oh my
B.
God.
B.
Why B?
Because the middle
Because
letter.
it's the middle letter. The middle letter is B. And so I know that guy is the middle. I'm just gonna go about, I have an angle that's ABE, so I'm gonna put that there. And then DBE, so I guess like that. And they say ABE is 61 degrees. Well, 61 is the acute angle. So did I probably draw my diagram correctly?
No.
If 61's acute and it's looking obtuse, it's not looking correct. But do I 100% care
No.
if I'm looking for something missing?
No.
Not really. They actually drew it a little better, but I probably would have just gone with this because I still know that these two are going to add up to how much? 180. So if I wrote my equation, I have, 61 plus x should equal 180. If I solve this, I have subtract 61
119.
and x equals 119.
Yes.
It is 119 degrees. So mine was off a little bit, but really it still served its purpose for me to see how to solve it. Let's take a look at the homework 1 sheet. It's been quite a while since I have actually had to go around and check homeworks, but for this chapter, that's what I'm going to be back doing. If I do not see, if you do not have the homework done, you will be in working lunch. We have 19 days. We don't have time to play around. If I want you to be better, you should want to be better for yourself. So, I expect it done every day. I want to get you started though on the bottom table. So take a look at the bottom table on homework 1. There's several columns. See where a 90 is written on the bottom table? 90 degrees. Okay, and then the next column says angle classification. Well, what is 90 degrees?
Right.
So I'm going to write right there. We're doing the bottom table of homework 1. Those are the people that don't want to better themselves. So the next column says, what is its complementary angle? Well, what is complementary adds up to 90. It's already 90. So does it need anything else to get to 90?
No.
So this one just doesn't exist. It doesn't have a complementary. And that's okay. I'm just going to put a dash. No, I'm not going to put a 0. It just doesn't exist. Then the last column says what is it supplementary? So 90 plus what gives me 180?
90.
So 90 degrees would go here. Some of your other blanks in that table have you working backwards. They might give you a supplementary angle. I'm making up an example. They might give you a supplementary angle of 80 degrees. Well, if my supplementary is 80, what does the original angle have to be? If it adds up to 180, and this one's 80, what does this one have to be?
100.
100. Well, 100 would be what kind of angle? Obtuse. Could 100 have a complementary angle? Is 100, what plus 100 gives you a 90? It doesn't have a complementary. That example is not on your paper. I just made up one. So I had to work backwards. You probably have time to wipe this out right now, actually. That's all for my lesson. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and peace out. Llamas?
Bye.